Gonna try. We'll see. How you doing?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, okay. How are you doing?
We got hit by the hurricane today, so I had 4 inches of water in my basement. Okay.
Let me see if I can mute
Good.
this. Here we go.
Are we live already?
Well, we're live on YouTube, so let me go live on Facebook now.
Oh,
I know.
okay.
Look it. I had time to figure this all out today.
Gotcha. It's a shame we can't do live on TikTok.
Well, you can now.
You can. I know. I was watching some girl talk about yoga.
I know. I got to get to 1,000. Once you get to 1,000, you can go live.
Oh, is that what it is? You have to get to 1,000?
How do I know this and you don't?
I did because I haven't paid that close of attention. But now I can go live. I didn't know that. That's so awesome. You sure it's only 1,000?
Yeah, I was reading about it. When you hit 1,000, you're supposed to get the option to go live. I'm getting there too.
Yeah, you're at like 548.
I know.
Wow,
Come follow me on TikTok. I'm really funny. Sometimes inappropriate.
Oh, it says
a
that
lot
we're
of times
live.
inappropriate. I don't care. My children see it anyway, living in my household. So they're used to it. They don't think it's mom being inappropriate. In fact, my daughter has a saying that I am one of those PTA moms that offends everybody, and I think it's funny. And then everybody's like, oh, that was offensive. I can't believe she said that. Ooh. And I'm
Really?
like, what? It was funny. Oh yeah, I do it all the time.
Huh. Okay.
All the time. My children are used to it. Other people's children, are not used to it. So they
Cry.
they mom and dad get upset, but
Whatever.
at the end of the day, I'm just me. Love me, hate me, adore me. I am just me.
I tell you, some of the, and like I said, I've been doing a lot of TikToking, obviously, since
Yeah.
I am the TikTok champ, since I've got the whole.
I know. You all let Jamie beat me out.
Got over 1,000 TikTok people. And I tell you what, the biggest thing that got me as many followers as it did, me doing what I do best. EAGLES, Eagles. That's what got me most of my followers. I have one that's already been viewed like 65,000 times, just me doing Eagles chants. So good taste.
Hey, my burrito one last night was pretty on point. I'm almost at 6,000 views on that. So
the burrito.
My burrito.
That was a big burrito. It looked like lasagna.
No, that was today. I was talking about the one last night.
Oh, okay. I didn't see the one last night.
Did you share this on your page, or do you want me to share it? What do you want me to do?
I shared it on my page.
Oh, okay. So
we're live. We're actually going.
We're going. We're live. We are live and in action. Live
so I've been sharing. I'm sharing it to like all of the singles groups since.
Yay! I love it. Singles peeps, if you're out there, come find us.
And like I said, this technology thing is starting to work for us. We are actually.
I know.
We are close to actually doing Instagram, but we're doing YouTube. I didn't even know that we could go YouTube live. And now I just found out that I could go live on TikTok, but I don't know how to do that just yet. So we'll have to get back to that.
I lost us. So hold on. I gotta find us again. There we are.
Oh,
All
I
right,
see
I
me.
fixed it. I pressed the wrong button. Happens.
Actually,
Happens, it happens. Somebody make a comment though, because I want to know if the comment thing is working. Make a comment, say hello, give me a go Hawks. Give me a go Hawks. I want to hear somebody say, give me a go Hawks.
well,
No,
so
I got nothing.
anyway, yeah, I guess nobody's got any comments to say, but it doesn't matter because I want to start the show off. Last week was a little crazy. It was a little crazy. That's stuff that was going on, and I wanted to kind of just kind of touch base and see one. How are you, Crystal? You had a lot of stuff going on last week, and I wanted to, I just want to make sure you're doing okay.
So here's a little inside scoop about me that this you're gonna hear some really personal things about me tonight. Like super, super personal things about me tonight. Bobby's saying hi.
Hi, Bobby.
So I grew up with a mom that taught me to be extremely strong, which I appreciate and I love and I adore. But at the same time, it was put on a brave face, fix your makeup, put a crown on your head, and get through the day. Right? And so I am really, really good at putting on that pageant face and smiling when shit's really hitting the fan, and then I kind of like break down behind the scenes. So you always know when you know me really personal is when you actually see me like completely collapse. It's pretty much when you know that you're in my heart. You're in my heart. You're in my heart and soul. If I open up to you, you're in my that's how you know.
Okay.
So I'm hanging in, but I'm hurt, I'm sad, I'm frustrated, I'm angry.
Hey, if breakups were easy, everybody would be doing them.
I know you keep telling me that.
So, but it's not easy. It's never fun to break up, especially when the answers, and no offense to Nick, what I mean, because Nick has his reasons and they're very valid to him, and nobody can tell him that his feelings are wrong for feeling those way. However, being a guy and knowing how guys verbalize things, he didn't do his best. He didn't do the best way of verbalizing that. So I'm going to give a little bit of benefit of the doubt to the fact that he may not have found the right words, that he wanted to come on and wanted to maybe plead his case, and maybe he had a lot more valid points, but was unable to get the words out, especially when you've got somebody who's grilling him. You know what I mean? So I won't say that last week was the end all be all of everything that he had to say and all that stuff. That being said, though, it's never simple. It's never a simple thing when feelings start to change. And you can try to give any reason why you want to on why something isn't going the way you want it to. And you can try to justify that in a lot of different ways. But the truth of the matter is that when you are starting to talk a certain way, the truth of the matter is that you're looking in the mirror and you're projecting onto the person that you are with what you see in the mirror. And that's what a little bit about what I saw last week. Now, again, I've had a week to think about it. So I've had a week to play Monday morning quarterback and kind of talk about some of the stuff that happened. However, realistically, the way that things happened, there was never going to be a good way or a simple way or an easy way to break up. So maybe he actually did well by cutting it off as abruptly as he did, because you could start the healing process for both of you.
Yeah. I mean, that's true.
And that's the hard part. That's the hard part.
That's very true.
How do you justify this? You can't, like, all the different answers and all the things that you could say and all the feelings that you have, don't, if they're not going to be reciprocated, it doesn't matter. And it's time to move on. And so maybe that's, out of everything, that him moving on was actually maybe the better way of doing things.
And probably. But so I want to, first of all, I want to thank every single one of you that reached out to me this week just to check on me, and all the amazing positive things that I heard, and just everything. I want, because I think Nick kind of got a little like back-ended, and I think, and there's parts that he deserves that 100%. There are absolutely parts that he deserves that, but at the same time, he has feelings too, and I do appreciate everything that he did for me and for our kids, and we brought a lot of love and laughter into my home that hadn't been there for a really long time from a male's perspective. And he is an amazing father, and he was amazing to my kids, and for majority of our relationship, he was absolutely amazing to me. And I don't want him to not think that I don't appreciate that in him, because I do. That's why I fell in love with him. Is all of those qualities right there is why I fell in love with him. But with that being said, for the last 2 or 3 months, I've very much felt like he had one foot in the door and one foot out the door. And every time I tried to address those issues with him, there was never any real resolution. And then I would get frustrated. So, and then when I'm not getting a resolution, because I'm a fixer, I want to fix it. Like, that's what I do. I want to fix everything. That's kind of my thing. I want to fix everything. I want to take care of everybody. I want to love on everybody. I want to show everybody love and affection and appreciate them. And I'm a fixer. And part of that is I hold on sometimes longer than I should, because I want to fix it.
Understood. See, and I can understand that thought process. I won't say that I'm a fixer, but I am someone who doesn't like to quit. I'm not a quitter. So there are times when I will try to push forward. It's almost like I take the punishment.
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm trying to, it doesn't, I'm single still, so obviously it hasn't worked. And there comes a point in time when you have to start to see the forest for the trees.
Yeah.
You know, I find that I have found through 47 years of living my life that the women that I have dated are right about a lot of things that are about me. You know, that I'm a good guy, that I will do anything for just about anyone. I'm very social, I'm very energetic, and I am very wishy washy when it comes to certain things. And I haven't been able to overcome those wishy washiness. And ultimately, those things become trust issues.
They do.
Um, and then when, even though there may not be anything to worry about, once it becomes the issue, it starts things in motion.
Yeah. So I did a really hard thing today. I went and watched last week's live.
How was it? I heard you couldn't see me.
We could barely see each other, and I think if we're gonna do lives like away, like that's our biggest struggle, is that we always have lighting trouble. So probably something we need to work on, but we'll get there. Hey, you know what, we're one step ahead of the game, because look at the shit we got going on tonight. I don't know if I can say shit. Is shit a bad word? I don't know, because now we're live on YouTube, and I don't know if I can say that on YouTube.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was really good for me. It was really good for me because at the end of the day, I think I heard a lot of things that he was saying that he wasn't actually saying.
Such as?
I think the biggest one, and Jamie, me and you talked about this, was the fact that with me being the person I am, and so part of my background, so that you guys all know, my parents got divorced when I was really, really young. I It was before I was 5, and I had literally seen them in the same room twice my entire life. Once was my high school graduation, and the other one was at my first wedding. And to go on to that, I got married super young. I was 18 when I first got married. Um, and it was because I wanted that family. I wanted that family. I wanted a husband. I wanted all of that my mom never had, because she opted not to do that. And she opted not to do that because she built herself an empire. She built herself an empire, and she she was amazing, little Italian little firecracker, and I miss her dearly. She passed away um almost 5 years ago. Oh wow. Whew. I can't believe it's no, no, yeah, 4 years ago. 4 years, almost 4 years ago. Um, so of course, you get married young, and everybody that's been married out there at the age of 18 that has made it through. I have a couple of high school friends that were together in high school, and they're still together today. One of them's actually celebrating their anniversary. So uh they're not on this page, but anyway, I then got into an extremely abusive relationship and an extremely abusive marriage. And that was something that, again, I'm a fixer. Jamie just
Sorry, I'm having technical issues with my phone here.
Jamie just fell over. Just fall over. I know, it's shocking, right? So I got into a really bad, really, really bad abusive relationship. And it's something that I still carry with me today, and it's something I still have to deal with today. So a lot of that hurt still comes up. And it took me I would probably say till I was in my 40s to really be like, I got this. Like, I'm pretty freaking awesome. You know? Like, I'm good. I'm independent. I'm strong. I am funny and goofy. Again, sometimes wildly inappropriate, but and I'm at the end of the day, like, I love being home with my kids. I love laughing. I love being stupid and funny and goofy. I love the Seahawks. I have a huge, huge, huge heart that gets me into trouble because I give a lot. Again, like I want. That's how I show that's my love language, is I'm a giver. I want everybody to be taken care of. I want everybody to be fed. I want everybody to have everything that they need and they don't have to worry about anything. I don't, it's like, that's just my mindset. So, in Nick's defense, I'm not always, yeah, Jimmy, you are upside down.
Am I? Okay, hold on. I'm having technical difficulties here. My phone carrier decided it just wanted to stop working completely. So better.
So, in Nick's defense, and this is not an out for him. I want to make that clear. This is not an out for him. But in his defense, I'm not always the easiest one to date or figure out, you know? Like, I'm not. But at the same time, I made some notes because I did go back and I did watch some stuff. So one of the things that Jamie and I talked about was that Jamie said to him, "Listen, dude, if you love her, like, this is not how you fix it. This is not how you fix it. Like, this is not what's going to work for her." And
I
Nick,
remember.
yeah, and Nick kind of said, "Well, I disagree with you." And Jamie was like, "You can disagree with me, but I can tell you that what you're doing is not working." And at the end of the day, what he was doing was not working, because what he was doing was only pushing me further away.
Correct.
Because the minute I start to feel controlled at all, or that somebody's trying to change who I am as a person, I immediately go, "Whoa, hold on. Time out. That's not happening again." Right? So, oh, Melissa, I'm so sorry. You were
I
not
was
the only
waiting to see if
one.
there was going to
I
be a
know.
response to
I know.
that.
I'm so sorry. We and we weren't even there on the weekend. We were there during the week. We were really only in town for the Seahawkers thing. And I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But I promise you, I'm going to be down there for an entire week in October. We will go have dinner, just the two of us, and get drinks. Just me and you. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that I was going to be that close to you. I feel awful. Totally awful. I'm so sorry. But where was I? Oh, so if and here was my outtake on those statements when I had time to kind of process it and kind of reevaluate the situation, right? If he's not willing to step back and say, what I am doing is not right to make this work, and I'm not willing to do something different, then that's not the man that I need to be with.
Correct. Correct. What did we start off? We started off like one of the first things that we said when we said we were going to do this show.
Yeah.
And I found something when I was listening to different dating people.
Oh, I have it in my notes.
You have it in the notes?
Yeah, I have it in my notes because it was so good.
Right. That, first you have to love yourself, or, you can't, I can't even rethink of the line, but it was like one of our first posts that we put up on the site itself. Now I'm going to go back and look for it, because literally it was such a good thing to say. Like, you got to know your own worth or something like that.
I do have it somewhere in my notes.
Hold on, I'll be
I think we did make
right at it here. Oh, we go way back. Wow, this show's been going on. You will never be good enough for the wrong person.
Back in time.
You will never be good enough for the wrong person.
Yep, you will never be good enough for the wrong person. You will never be good enough for the wrong person.
So, and that's a very statement.
It is a very big statement.
Wow.
It is a very big statement.
You'll never be good enough for the wrong person. Sorry.
You're fine.
So, and that's really what it comes down to. I mean, I'm a huge fan of When Harry Met Sally. And I believe a lot of things that were said in that movie really still hold true even today, even though that movie was done in the 80s. That there was a lot of things that held true. I find that although men and women could be better friends now than they could back then, I still don't think that men and women can be great friends. I feel that that's a true thing, that there's always the sex thing always kind of gets in the way. And if you can get over the fact that the sex thing is going to get in the way, you could become great friends. But you got to get over that fact, because the sex is always going to be there. But
it is.
It's there were a lot of other things that kind of happened in that movie. Like at the very end of the movie, when you see Harry come in, when you see Harry come in to Sally, who's at the New Year's Eve party, and he says, when you figure out that you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody, you want the rest of your life to start as soon as possible. And that kind of goes both ways with things. It's like when I was with my ex, we broke up and then still lived together for about 1.5 years, 2 years. And the hard part about that was that neither one of us gave the other the opportunity to start the rest of our lives. And it took just about 2 years and an absolute meltdown, flip out for it to end.
Mm-hmm.
Truth of the matter is that now we're probably better off. We're better off with each other now.
Yeah.
Like, we've learned how to become friends. We help each other out, probably more than when we were together. So there are a lot of things that came about, but after the first month of trying to figure out how are we to deal with each other now that we're broken up. It's like I don't hold many grudges. I'm still angry, and I got angry for the first month or so, and it was hard. One of the biggest fights that we had after breaking up and she moved out was about cookie trays. And it sounds so goofy that you're going to fight about cookie trays. And it even goes back to the movie When Harry Met Sally, because you're fighting about the wagon wheel coffee table. That's ridiculous. And she's asking me exactly how many cookie trays. Like I'm already irritated and angry, and she's asking me exactly how many cookie trays is she allowed to take. Well, as far as I was concerned, none at that point. You know what I mean? I didn't want to talk about. She would have been better off not asking me and just taking the cookie trays, because I didn't really want to have a conversation about the cookie trays. It was too much of a fight to deal with her at the time. You know what I mean? So it had nothing to do with the cookie trays. It had everything to do with me and her fighting. Like the closure wasn't quite complete yet,
Yeah.
in terms of that. And maybe it needed to be about cookie trays. You know what I mean? Because maybe that is what the end, you needed something tangible to argue about.
Yeah.
To figure out some of the feelings that each other had. You know what I mean? Because I'm a guy and my feelings are not easily shown. I'm quiet when it comes down to things that I actually have to think about. And she loved to talk to me at 2 o'clock in the morning while I'm exhausted and I'm trying to fall asleep to get up for work early the next day. And she'd get angry at me when I'd fall asleep. So, but unfortunately, that was part of our relationship. And there was a lot of challenges in our relationship, which is why we are now better friends while we're apart. That mean we'll get back together? I can't see that. But
Maybe when you're old and gray and like in rocking chairs.
maybe. Or maybe
Who knows?
not.
Maybe not.
Maybe I can find somebody else who will fit, the profile for a little while.
And let's just throw this out there, because this is the next question, Jamie, we're gonna get now is, are the two of you gonna start dating? No, Jamie and I are not gonna start dating.
Way too big of a challenge.
Way too big of a challenge.
I'd say.
Way
Too far away to start. Too far away to start.
Way too big of a
That
challenge.
doesn't necessarily mean, yeah. Plus, I'm not the rebound guy. I'm just not a good rebound guy. And to be honest, I don't want to be like, I find that I'm the asshole. I find that I'm the asshole a lot. And I wouldn't want to be the asshole to you.
I'm good. Wrong bird.
Not that I
I
want to
know,
be the
Andy. Wrong bird. Wrong bird. Wrong
Exactly. Exactly. However, my ex was a Cowboys fan, and maybe that's where the problem really is. I
Maybe.
live my life with sports. So maybe, just maybe, I need to find a ridiculous diehard Eagles fan.
I mean, it could be smart.
Well, it would be a good start at least.
It
Or
would be
Flyers fan.
Or
Or
Flyers.
Flyers fan.
One of them.
No, my Flyboys won. We beat Boston. Yes,
I'll
we
take
did.
that all day long. Go Flyers on
Love
that
beating
one.
Boston. So
So a couple of the other notes that, and I had, and here's where I get frustrated, because I had a whole bunch of people reach out to me, and I had heard it over and over and over and over again. And in fact, I heard it from people that saw us together, that at no way in any shape or form have I ever portrayed myself as single.
Uh,
JB's probably going to argue
yeah.
with me.
I no, I won't. Not that way. I kind of feel that that is correct. That he spoke, that he, I that's why I jumped on that. No way, no way. In fact, we included him in the first couple of episodes. I asked him questions. I wanted him to be a part of the show. So it's not, there was none of that I saw, at least on the show. You know,
Especially, and not only that, but even when I was out doing other things, you know, even when I was out doing other things, even when I was doing the Atlanta takeover, even when I was, were we talking during the Super Bowl last year? No, I don't think so. No, we hadn't started talking. But even like, and set like, I'm a diehard Seahawks fan. Sunday is my day. Sunday is my day. Like, that's my day. And my friends were shocked when I was like, oh, yeah, he's coming to the watch parties. And they're like, what? Like, that's like our time to like kick back and have fun. And I'm like, yeah, but he can kick back and have fun with us. And they're like, you've never done that before. So,
well, that's it. It becomes a share. You start to share your experiences as a couple, and that's what you're supposed to do. When you want to spend time with somebody, you want to try to spend as much time as you possibly can, and that means sharing each other's lives.
yeah,
This is part of your life. If he had any chance, first he had to come and join you, and then if he decided he didn't want to be a part of that anymore, he could then decide to not join you anymore afterwards. But he had to do it initially because that's part of you and part of learning about you and part of being in your relationship.
yeah,
It did sound to me that you guys did take a couple of steps very quickly.
we did.
When I was asking initially, when I had first met you or first spent time with you at your house, and I was kind of asking both of you, like, well, how long were you guys seeing each other before you started to move in? And it was only like a month's worth of time. Not to say that that's wrong, but that's definitely pushing the envelope in terms of speed.
Well, and I think part of that is we lived 40 minutes away from each other. So, and we very much felt like we were constantly like on the go back and forth from one house to the other house, one house to the other house, especially when we started like introducing the kids, and then the kids wanted to spend so much time together, and then the kids were much more comfortable at my house than they were all at his house. So then we ended up spending more time here, and it was like one of those conversations that we had where we I had to go back to Hawaii in February, and I had make a lot of big decisions while I was there. And so we kind of had the conversation is that we're not going to make any big decisions until we get back from Hawaii. And he came with me. And then we got back from Hawaii, and then like we started to kind of talk about that scenario, and of how it was all going to work, and what we were going to do, and what the kids were going to do with school, and this, that, and the other. And we were trying to put the pieces together. And I think one of Nick's biggest things is he doesn't want to let anybody down, right? He hates to let people down. It really crushes him to let people down. And I know that about him. And one of the things that I think kind of had him one foot in and one foot out is his daughter really didn't want to change schools. And she right now she's going to a school that's zoned and for his house. And if he would have moved out, she wouldn't have been able to go to that school.
Okay.
And he didn't want to admit it to me because he didn't want to let me down. And he didn't want to admit it to her because he didn't want to let her down. But looking back on it now, I think ultimately that's where a lot of our issues stemmed from, when we started to have to figure out real life stuff and how that looked, to combine two families together with kids that are going to school at 4 different schools because they have 4 different parents that live in 4 different school districts. Like, and like, and how do all those pieces come together? And I think that that's where our communication really started to crumble. And honestly, I think for him is that he didn't want to let any of us down. He didn't want to tell any of us no.
Yeah.
But I kind of, so then like then it's like, then you're having communication issues, right? And then the whole COVID thing happened, right? On top of it. Then the whole COVID thing happened. And then we have all 4 kids at the house. I got 4 kids on 4 different school schedules. And he's an essential worker, so he had to work. And I work from home, so I was here all day with them. And he was working a lot and he was exhausted. And I was exhausted because I was trying to take care of everything. And we were just not meshing up. We were just not meshing up. Our timing was off. We were not meshing up at all.
Okay. But that's not the reason on why you broke up, or it's not even a really good reason on that's not a good reason for either one of you, personally, my opinion.
It's
If you're
not.
not meshing up, you're not meshing up, and that's a whole nother thing. You know what I mean? Like, okay, it's not working between us. It sucks. We have to move on. You know what I mean? If you're making
It's
that decision, yeah. But you guys
it's
were a
not.
little bit beyond that.
It's
So
it's not. It and it's not. It's not a good reason to break up, and it's not a good reason to not be able to fix things and not build. And here's the other thing that um that I took out of rewatching last week's um live was, you made, Jamie, you made a very, very profound statement at the end that, a relationship is built on a foundation. And when that foundation crumbles, you either have to figure out how to rebuild that foundation, to rebuild that house, or you
you
move into
level it and
another
go on.
house.
Yeah, exactly. Level it and move along. And that's always the challenge. It's always the hard part. It's like and I can only talk about my ex and some of the challenges we had. Like 5 years in, we started to go to therapy, and it was interesting because she chose the therapist. She set the meetings up, and I tell you, for the time that we went to therapy, I felt that it was the only time that she actually heard what I was trying to say, because it was a guy therapist. And ultimately, he was taking what I was saying, and he could hear what I was saying. He was just verbalizing it in a different way, but
Different
saying the
way.
exact same thing.
Yeah.
And I felt for the first time she was actually hearing me. However, she didn't like what she was hearing. Now, I couldn't stop the fact that she didn't like what she was hearing, because she found out that, like, okay, once we start to actually have conversations where I'm actually expressing my feelings about certain things, if it doesn't align with the way that she feels about things, uh, I wind up being wrong. You know what I mean? And couldn't be both ways. Where I can't be justified. You can't tell me that I'm unjustified in feeling the way that I do when you are asking me to make sure, not to make you feel unjustified for your feelings. And that
No,
was
no,
part of the
no,
challenge.
it's very true. It's very true. So with all that going on, I I feel like he started to really nitpick things that once he loved and adored about me. And then I felt like I was trying to be changed and trying to be controlled, and that makes me pull away further.
They made a show on Broadway about that. You're great, you're perfect, now change.
Yeah, change.
And
By the way,
that's a common thread in relationships. Now I
so
have
and this goes back to Jamie's question was, what, it is it it is hard to date a super fan. It is hard to date a super fan. It is hard to date a girl that's a super fan because my DMs get all kinds of shit. All kinds of
so
stuff.
you're even stepping out with a couple of extra words in that statement. It's hard to date a woman.
It is hard to date a woman.
Period. You know what I
Period.
mean? So just period. That's why when we would talk about the dating apps, and I'd say, and I'd laugh, or I wouldn't respond. I couldn't like anybody who says I'm looking for my soulmate. Well, you should have been looking a long time ago, because you're not going to find them now. You know what I mean?
No,
You're
you're
only going to be
yeah,
able to find you know,
your soulmate is yourself.
correct.
Your soulmate is yourself.
You have to
You
look at,
have to love yourself before you can love anybody else. And I think that and again we were talking about lessons that you take out of relationships, and over the last year of not only just Nick but in friendships that I've had, I I was not doing what I needed to do to take care of me. I stopped doing that and I started taking care of everybody else. And I needed I need to do what I need to do to take care of me, because when I take care of me, it makes me a better mom, it makes me a better business owner, makes me a better friend, it makes me a better partner. It I When I take care of myself, I am so much more whole as a person. And
I
I and I and in this last year I stopped doing that. Just overall I stopped doing it. I stopped I I stopped doing it in friendships. I stopped doing it in relationships, and I was having a really hard time finding balance because I don't say no. I Because again, I want to fix everything, right? I want to fix everything. So like I need to reel myself back in and go, you need to take care of yourself first. Don't give up the things that you love to do that make you feel good as a person because somebody needs you to do something else.
Well, so, and now take that. I hear exactly what you're saying. And so now take that 10 years out. When some of those challenges that I had was even, once I was single again, I didn't even know what I liked. It was hard for me to even figure out what is anything that brought me enjoyment.
Right.
Because although I was a super fan, I wasn't as active in the super fan community as I am now. So like
We're
I was
fun.
getting, say again.
We're fun.
Exactly. Well, but and it was, I actually had to make lists because I didn't even know what made me happy. I was miserable for so long that I didn't know how to get out of it. So I had to make a list of things that made me happy. And of course my children made me happy. But it's, you know, when you're angry a lot of the time, even though they may make you happy, you start to project the anger onto them. And that wasn't.
Mhm. And it's not fair.
So, excuse me. And it's, I just always have, I was always kind of a happy-go-lucky guy. I know I spend a fair amount of time in social settings, and most of the time those social settings involve alcohol. So I'm at the bar. It just happens. It's where I like to spend time. It's where I like to go and meet people, talk, socialize, whether I'm working at the bar, whether I'm drinking at the bar. So, or whether I'm a super fan at the bar. All of which is fun for me because it's social. But when I had to start to figure out, like, okay, what is it that I like? And you start putting down on a list, and I'm like, most of the things that I remember and fully enjoy, like the most fun memories I've ever had, deal with sporting events, whether I was playing in them or I was at them. You know, and that is, that's what started to evolve me into becoming, oh, well, maybe it is that I am this ridiculous super fan, and maybe, you know, my mother used to tell me that I used to ask, why wasn't there somebody who get painted up for all four sports teams? So I became that guy, way late in life, but now TikTok makes me feel a lot better about that because there's a ton of cosplayers, people getting painted up for
Right?
nothing.
To get paid.
Those are,
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say for nothing, but they have their own stuff going on. I mean, they're their own little super fan group. But and people, people ask me how I became a Seahawks fan, and on honestly, swear to God, my mom lived in Hawaii. My dad was in Washington State. I would only get to see him in the summers, and Hawaii actually showed the Seahawks games, and it was something that I could connect with my dad on and talk to him about. And because I've always been a sports girl. I've always been a sports girl in some way, shape, or form. I've always been a sports girl. But it was something that I could truly like connect with my dad and talk to him about on the phone without like just being like, what's the weather like? Blah 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 blah. And that's hard for a preteen girl, right? That's hard for a preteen girl to find that connection with her dad.
right.
And I am very, very blessed that I have an amazing, amazing father. He I am his princess. My sister is his favorite, and I am his princess. Um, but that's how we truly connected, was over the Seahawks. And then when I moved to Washington to live with him and finish out high school, I mean, that's what we did. Like, that was my dad time. That was my dad time that I knew my sister wasn't going to be around because she hated sports. So that was my dad time.
Okay.
And so I've always hung on to it. So to me, it's more than just a football team. To me, it's family. That's family time. That's when, like, you love and connect and laugh and talk and have fun and eat food and, and relax and, like, have downtime. So to me, that's what the Seahawks have always been to me. And when we win, it's freaking awesome. But when we lose, at the end of the day, I'm still going to be a diehard Seahawks fan, because to me, it's more about winning. It's so much more than just about winning and losing.
Right. Well, definitely. Especially because it's part of, you know, they don't pay me enough money to hold it. You know what I mean? When they start paying me to really care about it like that, then I'll care about it like that. But after the game's over, if we've lost, I am not the atypical Philly fan. I can let it go.
Yeah, it takes me a moment, but I can let it go. It takes me a moment. It takes me a moment, but I can let it go. So, when I have this man that comes into my life that says, and at this point in time, I was already a super fan. Like, I was already a super fan, and it was something that I struggled with dating, when to tell guys about this, because it was like this end up being like this really, like, oh well, sure you do, okay, whatever, blah 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 blah. And then they would, like, start seeing stuff, and they were like, oh shit, it's not what I expected. So Nick accepted that from the very, very beginning. He accepted that from the very beginning. And that conversation that I just had with all of you just now was a conversation that Nick and I had at the beginning of our relationship. And I felt he really understood where I was coming from. So for him to then come in 7, 8 months later and go, I'm not okay with you doing this now. This is not appropriate for somebody that wants to be in a serious relationship. I'm going, I was
That
like
don't
this
fly.
from day one,
Yeah, that don't fly.
and you absolutely loved me and adored me for it.
Right. You're great. You're perfect. They'll change.
Right.
And it goes back to, again, even subconsciously, you start to think about the things that you want and like,
Mm-hmm.
and your actions start to act that out.
Yeah.
And it's sounds so funny for me to say that as I'm talking as a Monday morning quarterback towards, between what happened with you and Nick, because I suffer from that as well. I'm not immune to that. In fact, I'm probably just as bad, if not worse, in those types of situations. And I don't know how to beat that. You know what I mean? There's not it's just, you can't help what you like. You can't help how you start to act. And ultimately, you start to respond, even inadvertently, to what it is that you want. And when it starts to become not you, or not the other in the relationship, it starts to become very apparent very quickly. And it's hard because you're trying to figure out what's wrong. You're trying to figure out what's creating this. You try to get back to the moment in time. What was the moment in time that this happened? And then you start to think about, like, okay, well, how did you say this and the inflection in your voice? I have arguments about just the way she said something, not what she said, because
Oh,
she
well,
would then
and
say
that
it in a different way.
and
Yeah.
that I mean, in the last couple weeks, that's where we've been. It's not, and I kept going, like, we could sit here and like nitpick a whole bunch of stuff, but do we want to just nitpick, or do we want to like actually talk about the bottom line issues and figure out how to resolve that where we both are in agreements of it?
Yeah. And then the hard part is that once you start to go down that road, you don't ever recover. At least I don't feel. I've not been put in a situation, I've never had a situation in a relationship where I have been able to recover. And it's not because I don't want to or I still don't have feelings. I still love my ex. I still care very much about her. I don't want anything to happen to her. I want her to have a very happy life. She's the mother of my children. She is a very good woman. My choice in women was not bad, right? When we got together, you know what I mean? So that wasn't the problem. The fact that we were cut from separate cloths, we were cut from different cloths. And ultimately, that comes into play because when you're trying to stitch together two cloths that aren't matching each other, that doesn't work. And that's you can't put a jersey and a t-shirt together and think that it's going to be okay. It's not.
No, it
You
doesn't
know,
work.
and that's part of what was happening. And you fight it and fight it and fight it, and you invest that time, and ultimately sometimes it just doesn't work. And that doesn't mean it's anybody's fault. There's enough fault to blame to go around for the both of us. You know what I mean? It's like, and it took me a while to figure that out too. You know, I mean, I still go by the one thing that I usually say, because I know that I'm an asshole. And if you're going to talk to me like I'm an asshole, I'll show you what an asshole's like. And I have that
Not
in
productive, Jamie. Not productive.
well, I understand that, but I know sometimes I can't help it. Sometimes I just cannot help it. And I don't mean to. I don't want to get that. I don't want to put that step into a relationship. Usually I want to save that for people who don't know me. You know what I mean? Because if you're going to start to treat me, if you're going to act like I'm an idiot, well, I'll show you how much of an idiot I'm not. You better pack a lunch. Just because that's how I am, and I'm going to be in your face about it. Dating. It's the reason why I wanted to have this show to begin with. All part
It
of the
is.
reason. Because I know that I'm a train wreck.
Choo choo.
So, and once I date, I start to like women. They start to like me. Right now, I feel like I'm very flaky, and not because I mean to be or I want to be. It's just that I don't. I am. I'd rather just date right now rather than try to start a relationship.
You don't want to, you're not ready. You're not at relationship right now. You're at dating,
Correct.
which is not,
I
I mean, it's not a bad place to be as long as you're being upfront about it.
Well, and not only that, like I feel like that if somebody can get past the first few months of me, maybe then we can start to think about what it would be like at the next few months.
90 days.
I've always had the 9-month window. I started seeing somebody, usually lasted 9 months. There have been some exceptions. You know, I have been engaged twice. One was in my ex, the most recent. The one before that was a long time ago, where we were young and I felt that she was ready to be a bride, not necessarily a wife. And
I did that one. I did that one. I
you know,
I
you
I did
learn,
that one. You
you learn.
learn.
You
Again,
ask, what did you learn in these relationships? I've
uh,
started to learn what it is that I want in the relationship. You can't help who you are. And unfortunately, you're going to continue to be you, whether they want you to be you or not. So if you know you, the question becomes is that what is it that you want?
yeah.
And there are certain things that I want. There's certain things that I absolutely have to have. You know, I, and I'm learning like right now, like I'm getting closer and closer to be having smoking being a hard pass. And I was never that way. I was a smoker for a long time. And well, why would I want that to be a hard pass? And I tell you, most of the people that I still date now are smokers. I don't know why that is. Like I haven't, it's funny that I don't date many non-smokers. I don't know why that is. Could be the bar thing, but realistically, there's people that go to the bars that don't smoke. I'm being one of them.
I
But
I I will every now and then, but not really.
well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I almost picked one up about 3 weeks ago. And I remember I'm like, I
I
want
always
to give them.
regret it the next day. Anytime I do it, I regret it the next day.
It's been over 10, it'll be 10 years. 10 years. Not over 10 years. It's over 9 years right now. It'll be 10 years. New Year's Eve at midnight for New Year's Day. So I won't pick up a cigarette. Now, you're passing a joint around, that's a whole different story. But, you know, I won't smoke. And it's becoming more of an issue to me. I'm like, I don't want this. Like, I don't want it. Like, I don't have to. And that's what you have to do to the nth degree. But that's why you have to have a long dating process. It can't be a month and then move in.
Yeah.
Because you need to be able to find out some of the ins and outs and the quirks, and having them spend the night the first time is great. Having them spend the night the 10th time, you learn something different than you did the first night.
True.
Dealing with some of the challenges of living 40 minutes away but wanting to see each other creates a certain drug between the two of you that you're trying to get addicted to that person. And that's what part of a relationship is, because people that can be married, like my parents were married for almost 50 years before my mother passed away. People have been together all their lives, and I can't seem to stay with somebody for 5 minutes. So after a while, I believe it's me. It's not everybody, it's me. I get it. But now that I know that, and I can work with that, it's time for me to find somebody that I want to be with. When you want to be with them, you got to start to find out what it is that you want.
I know I need a partner. I need a partner.
Partners are good.
I need a teammate.
So
I need somebody that I know I can count on.
it's funny. I've been reading and hearing a lot about thruples.
About what?
Thruples. Three
Thruples?
person, three person couples.
I,
A thruple. Um, and most of the time you hear it about one girl and two guys. I haven't seen many thruples that are the other way around, two girls and one guy. But you find when you talk to the woman in the relationship of a throuple that they have one who can hit their emotional side. It also seems to be that they're very good at hitting the financial side. They are also not very good in hitting the uh, emotional or sexual side.
sexual and emotional are two different things.
Yes, but they normally fall into the same category for a woman.
Not this woman.
Well, each woman's different, but in a relationship, when you're talking about needing a teammate in a partnership, that's a teammate, a partner is somebody who takes on financial responsibility and you can make educated decisions between the two of you to be able to live your lives as best as you possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in emotions and sex, and that becomes a whole different animal. They don't gel. You're talking about business and pleasure. And you want one person to fit both of them. It's not the easiest thing to do. That's why a throuple seems to be thriving right now. That you hear about this more frequently than not. And it's a guy who, you know, doesn't care as much about sex. The sex doesn't really.
Not a big thing.
The sex isn't the food that makes him poop. I know it sounds really ridiculous, but that's kind of, that's just what it is. It's just that doesn't have the same thing for him as taking care of the woman. When he's taking care of his family, he feels a large sense of pride. And then that may disappear the moment that he lasts 2 seconds in bed.
Yep.
So then you have the other guy who is a little on the wishy-washy side. You know what I mean? He can't seem to keep a job together for too long. He's way too social, doing all these things or whatever. However, more emotionally in tune with himself and more sexually active. So you put them together with one woman, and now all of a sudden that woman has got all of those sides of the box covered. Oh, all right. He can hit me. He can hit me as a partner and a teammate, and this guy can hit me as a friend and a lover. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of crossover, I imagine, in that. You can't, you can't have somebody who's just a teammate, and because every once in a while he wants to play in the sex games too. You know what I mean? So it's not as simple as that, but there definitely is something to finding more than one person to hit the requirements and needs that you want.
Wow. I think I'll pass on the circle, but
Well,
thank
no, hey, listen, to each their own. I'm not saying I want to circle either. I'd have a hard enough time trying to take care of one woman, let alone two, or a woman and another guy involved. You know what I mean? That's not going to be something I'm interested in playing with. I'm just saying that there is a thought process that some people have that it works for them. And it's because they're able to find not just one person that fits into the cube. They get two people and they've got their good parts, they have their good parts. And between the both of them, they are able to give her or him everything that person wants.
interesting. I'm gonna have to read about this whole thruple thing, but
Big on
I,
TikTok.
you know what? Oh, see, now we're out of time, and I wanted to tell you about TikTok because I was wide awake at 2 a.m. last night. I couldn't sleep. Mine was like racing, and just like I journaled, and then I like scrolled on TikTok, and so I was curious about the singles in 40 club, right? Because I'm 41, right? So I was curious about the singles in 40 club. So I searched the hashtag singles in 40.
How'd it go?
Not very well.
It went very well or not very well?
And I'm going, is this what Jamie's talking about? What tender looks like for him? Because this is not okay. This is not okay. This is not okay. You girls are a hot mess. Hot
Oh,
mess.
across the
Mess
board.
Express.
Across the board.
Hot Mess Express. What are you all doing? And stop getting so much plastic surgery.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That's it amazes me. Well, that and the
I'm
amount of
sorry.
makeup.
That was my rant for this evening. Oh dear Lord. Now, and by the way, I am not against plastic surgery. Not against plastic surgery at all. I have lots of friends that have plastic surgery. It's everybody's choice. I get it. I understand it. But at some point in time, you have to stop. Like, you don't look even like normal anymore. I don't
Hey,
know.
I think of
And,
Pan Mom.
yeah, and maybe and guys are probably attracted to that, and to each their own. You know,
Hold on, hold
everybody's
on, hold on,
got
hold on,
their
hold on.
thing.
Stop saying, stop saying. I want you to listen to what you just said. You were on 40 and single on TikTok, and you were
Mhm.
seeing these women, and you're saying that guys find that attractive. If guys found that attractive, they wouldn't be doing the 40s and single on TikTok.
Note to self: don't hashtag 40s and single.
Oh, I'm about to do it now. Now I definitely want to see it. I feel like that's a train wreck that I'm going to drive my choo choo right on in. Just because I feel like that's funny. But
Well, now you have to go and search it because now you have to see what I'm talking about.
like I'm real big on trying to find the Philadelphia singles. That there is a good amount of Philadelphia singles around, um, all throughout the state. I mean, because that you see, or not Philadelphia, you see Pennsylvania singles. I'm part of the Pennsylvania singles group, and it seems like they're all in Pennsylvania. And it's like, okay, I'm not going to go 2 hours away to find somebody. However, you know, that's not so ridiculous anymore. People are traveling to go find the love of their
We
life.
were like going across the country. Oh, we met on TikTok and we flew across the country to meet each other. And I'm picking her up from the airport. I'm going,
That's such a crock of crap.
that's what I'm thinking.
Crap. It's like, okay, yeah,
Fake
whatever.
TikTok romance going on.
No, you know what? And that's great. It's a great story to tell because everything is beautiful for that first 5 minutes. So you see that, and that's what you show on TikTok. You don't
Well,
show what happens 3 weeks later.
one guy last night flew, like 5 states away, flew in for the weekend to meet this girl from TikTok. She picks him up from the airport. He, has his hotel room. She picks him up from the airport. They go out to dinner, go out and have drinks that night. She drops him off at the airport, says, "I'll see you tomorrow. We're gonna go blah 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 blah." Totally ghosted him.
Yeah.
posted them.
What a surprise. I mean, it's so, you know, a long time ago, going close to 20 years ago, I used to install computer systems across the country for Kmart. And I met a girl in Binghamton, New York. I was living in Sterling, Virginia. And I was hanging with her. We're talking online and all this other stuff. And I went to go, we set up a date on like a Friday night. So I got home. I got home. We left from Detroit, drove to Sterling, Virginia, because my work I was doing in Detroit at that time. Drove to Sterling, Virginia. I then got back into the car. Once we got home, I got my stuff together. I went to the bathroom, came back out, got back into the car, drove all the way up from Sterling, Virginia to Binghamton, New York. It's probably about 18 hours in the car. The end of that car ride, I was a little jittery, so it's probably best that she didn't show up. However, she never showed. It was a complete mess. Like, I'm like, oh, now you're not going to talk to me? Like, I leave 3 messages and then that's that.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
And then I'm like, okay, well, what do? You go to the bar and you hang out. And I hung out, went to the bar. I met somebody there who listened to my story well enough, so she had breakfast with me the next morning because she felt bad for me.
Well, that was nice of her.
That's what I thought. And I was like, all right, perfect. See you later. I'm going. What's up, Josh? You know, Joshua McGovern is the closet Eagles fan. We know. He likes to dye his hair the same color as me.
Yeah, he's the Seahawker of the year. I doubt he's an Eagles fan.
Yeah, and he's also an Army guy, and Navy crushed Army. Oh, yes, they did.
Oh, Lord. Here you guys go. Anyway, on that note, we are way past our time because we got TikTok sidetracked.
That's kind of what happens.
I know. But we'll see you next Tuesday, date night.
Hey, listen, this was a good show. Crystal, I'm glad to hear that you're okay. I know that breakups aren't simple and, or anything and, stuff like that. But I'm glad to hear that you're doing well and such.
Thanks.
And that, we're going to start the healing process.
I'm working on it. Getting back to my balance.
It's hard. It's not simple, but all things come in time. They all come.
I'm not a girl, though,
so. Hey, listen, guys. If anybody wants to join the show, anybody wants to come on, like who was it that was doing some talking here? I wanted to almost get her on. Mandy had something to say. She had a lot to talk about. Anybody ever wants to come on the show, you let us know, and we're going to get you on. I would love to talk to somebody else and see if it's just the two of us that's crazy, or maybe we could find out that we're the sane ones and somebody else is even crazier.
I mean, I hope so, but I'm not crazy. I'm just kooky.
Yeah, exactly. Crazy, kooky. It's all the same.
Whatever.
Also, real quick, before I let go, I understand that everybody is out there. Some of you guys are working, some people are not. If you are having a difficult time, if you're on unemployment, looking for some extra work or some extra income, I've come across a situation where I feel like that I'd be able to help some people. So I'm not going to go into it too much because I'm not going to talk about work during a dating show. However, if you guys are looking to maybe get a little bit of income, a little bit of residual income for not a lot of work, I have a something that I got involved in that is helpful, and you can make as much money as you want to make. So I don't want to just make it seem like it's this crazy thing where you're going to make millions of dollars, because you can. You just got to do it. You got to work a lot, where I don't work a lot, but it is something that I do. And because I know that there are 30 million people on unemployment right now, I wanted to be able to offer that to you. So if you are out of work and just need a little bit of extra income, please reach out to me or to Crystal, and she'll get you in contact with me, and
Yeah.
we could talk about it. And it may be
Okay.
something that would be a good fit for you.
Perfect. Well,
Other than
Jamie,
that, it's another
we
date night in the
are
book.
2 birds on the hunt.
2 birds on the hunt. Hey
Good
guys,
night.
have a great night.
Bye.
Go birds. Are we clear?
I'm here.
Yeah, I see us still going. Yeah, live was just about 10 seconds away. Am I upside down now? Hold on.
Yeah.
Oof.
And
There I am.
do I need to end the whole thing?